So let's talk about, fuck, enough of that bullshit. Let's talk about your motions.
All right. You sharing my screen?
Yep. It's up.
All right. So let's take a look at, first off, we want a jury trial. Okay, so let me just take you through the whole concept. Please write me a motion for a jury trial. My name is Kennedy Walker. The date is 7/23/24. The case is this and this. My state is Oregon. This is a pro se request for a jury trial. So this is what they came up with. Circuit Court of the State of Oregon for the County of State of Oregon. Plaintiff, that's not right. What is the State of Oregon? Nothing.
Yeah, it's a fiction.
It's nothing.
It's a fiction.
I exist. But
yeah, the state of Oregon is a convenient fiction for the government. That's what it is.
They got me to agree that my name is all caps, so I should change that. I don't know. This is what ChatGPT wrote me. Okay, so I'm not necessarily standing by any of this.
So, but it wrote you as the person that you are, not the fictional all caps straw man.
That's right. So, motion
good.
for jury trial comes now. Kennedy Walker, the defendant in the above captioned case, appearing pro se, and respectfully moves this honorable court for a trial by jury. In support of this motion, the defendant states the following. Defendant is charged with, I fill that in later, right to a jury trial under both the United States Constitution and the Oregon Constitution. The defendant is entitled to a trial by jury for the charges brought against them. Legal basis, Sixth Amendment to the United States guarantees the right of a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury. See, and this is the type of shit that's the benefit of using ChatGPT, is that it's going to add stuff like this in. You can copy it and make whatever the hell you're going to make out of it, but it just adds some extra stuff in. It's got it bullet pointed. Pretty nice. Article 1, Section 11 of the Oregon Constitution also provides for the right to a jury trial in criminal cases. The defendant respectfully requests that this matter be set for a jury trial on the earliest date available to ensure a fair and just resolution of this case. Wherefore, the defendant, Kennedy Walker, President of this honorable court, grants this motion for a jury trial and for such other and further relief as the court deems just and proper. Dated today. Respectfully submitted. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I just say, please rewrite, adding the following information. The county name is Malheur County. Charges against me are null and void. I don't type things. You guys might not realize that. I just speak it.
Yeah, you're using voice activated. Yeah, you're using voice recall.
Okay.
Sure.
Since they violate my religious practices, as well as my Fourth Amendment right to be secure in my property unless there is a warrant signed by an injured complainant with damages, this is also a violation of my Sixth Amendment right to face my accuser, since I have no accuser. The charges are drug war related, which constitutes treason under federal law. My address is this and this. Sure, here's the revised motion. They're still calling him a plaintiff, but whatever. Defendant is charged with the offenses related to the drug war. Charges against the defendant are null and void. So I said no and void because it's voice. But they interpreted it. They got it right.
Skynet figured it out. Skynet figured it out.
It's null and void as they violate the defendant. You know, I talk to people and they can't figure things out. But here it is. The computer can figure it out. Bro, I have better conversations with the AI than I do with people.
Well, the AI is only as smart as the people that program it, and it is getting better, obviously. But most of the time, it's so stupid.
It's not the people that program it. It's doing language calculations and stuff. It's not about the people.
Well, that's listen, man, I was involved in teaching AI for about 6 months.
No, you don't teach it. You set it up to learn, and then it does it for 10 million processes. And now it's a different thing than whatever the programmers wanted. Wouldn't you agree with that?
No, because I worked for a company teaching AI, and all I did was write all day. It gave me subjects to write on, and I had to come up with stuff
let me
that was
explain
original
how that
from
works.
from that topic.
You got $40,000 a year, and they charge the government $100,000 a year for your position.
Okay, I don't know anything about it, but probably, yeah.
And
of course, I don't
that's
know
what your
about that
position
stuff.
was. It's not that you were there to know stuff or. Come on, Matt.
Oh, I was writing for AI to teach the AI.
Right.
You know, there were strictures that we had to go by. We weren't allowed to be vulgar. We weren't allowed to, we weren't allowed to be vulgar or crass, and we weren't allowed to present any fictions. We weren't allowed to. Everything that I wrote, I had to do research on and write it, from my research based on facts, not, just whatever's in my fucking head.
I mean, I can certainly be wrong about anything about it.
I'm sure there's different ways. Well, I mean, yeah, okay, what's the matter with you? He says, come on, man, like, it's not like you know stuff. Yeah, I know stuff.
Bro, we don't know as much as we think. I have people showing up in my comment section every day that are pretending to know things, and they'll cite rules. Bro, I'm citing laws here, and you're over here citing rules.
Right, or they're talking about policy or decisions or opinions.
Supreme
yeah, of
Court,
course.
Yeah, all that stuff. And it's just like, dude, don't tell me anything. Did I ask for your opinion? Bro, I'm showing you how to crush cops. I'm not asking you like for your opinion or some shit.
Yeah, it's what you're presenting is a tactic that works provably over and over again.
Well, it's just a law, and then GPT seems to understand me. I don't know why these people can't seem to pull it off.
Yeah, that seems a little bit weird to me.
Where were we? Null and void, as they violate the defendant's religious practices. That's true. That's true.
That's a fact.
The charges infringe upon the defendant's Fourth Amendment right to security in their property, as there is no warrant signed by an injured complainant with damages. That maybe should be changed. I'm not just securing my property, but my person, and there was a warrant out for me, and it wasn't based on an injured complainant's sworn statement. It was just a memo from the judge to the cops.
Well, what it was the cop went crying to his boss, and his boss said, fuck you, go to a judge, get a warrant.
Let's go back one step, because it was days after I arrested their lieutenant. So first off, I lawfully arrested their lieutenant for disrupting my business at the Social Security office. The video's online. And then days after that, they filed charges against me. Officer Esplin, Sergeant. But here's the problem. I filed charges against him with the DA just 6 months prior to him filing charges on me. And they'll say, whoa, you got to report it to a law enforcer. But here's the problem with that. The sheriff's already collaborated.
Of course.
The chief in my city has already collaborated. Now I'm reporting it to the DA. And guess what about the DA? He can pretend like, it's not policy for us to do anything. But here's the problem with all that. You took an oath to uphold.
They all took oaths. That's right.
You took an oath to uphold and defend the rights of the United States, and then the state, from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I reported some domestic enemies to you. And what did he do? Nothing.
He ignored it. Yeah, he ignored it.
He told me to go to the state police, and I told him, go ahead and forward that to the appropriate party.
And he threw it in the trash,
because
probably.
it's an email, but yeah. Okay, so where were we?
The charges.
constitute a violation of the defendant's Sixth Amendment right to face their accuser, as there is no identifiable accuser. What it is actually ChatGPT got this wrong. There's no injured party. So I can copy this and I can put it into a Word document. I mean, I use open source, so OpenOffice. And then I can change identifiable accuser into identifiable injured party. Because you guys seem to believe, because what the cops do is they'll just pull you over on the side of the road and they'll say the state is accusing you of this thing and you need to pay $248. Okay,
Yeah.
but the truth is they seized you illegally. There isn't a complainant. A complainant is the one that determines if it's a crime or not. Bro, millions of crimes are committed
Every day.
every day.
Every single day.
Well,
In court
like,
and on the street.
Just take, for instance, my last audit video style, sovereign style video. I arrested a cop out front of my place for doing a traffic stop, disrupting the peace here in my neighborhood. He threatened me. He thinks he seizes people without a warrant. He's not even the one that determines probable cause. It's plain and obvious for anyone that knows anything that was a perfectly lawful arrest. Everything was good about it. The state police officer, I don't know, Eric, collaborated with him. He knew I was accusing the man of a crime. And instead of upholding his oath, obviously, what did he do? The exact opposite. It's honestly the only thing they're not going to obey. It's the only
oath.
thing.
Yeah.
It's their oath, yeah. Because what's it going to be every time? Well, cops commit crimes against everyone. Look, guys, don't I arrest cops no matter what the fuck they're doing?
Yes. I'll agree.
It's because they're committing crimes. I know that naysayers will be like, no. You're doing it because you're mentally ill.
Because you didn't take your meds, Kennedy.
Oh, I know. This whole charge is drug war, and now they want me to take my meds. These people.
Well, they want you. Yeah, they want you to take the meds from Pfizer. They don't want you to take anything natural that's not going to fuck up your brains and your body. They want you to take that pharmaceutical shit that the Bible warns us about. In the original Greek,
Yeah.
it's called pharmacia.
Yeah.
In the King James Version, it's called sorcery. So, yeah. Which law are you going to obey?
Yep. Here, would you read this part? I'll be right back.
The right to the jury. Oh, okay. The charges constitute. No, okay. All right. Right. We already went through that. Yeah, the charges being related to the drug war constitute treason under federal law, and that's a fact. That's not fiction. That's not something that we just made up. It's enumerated in the Constitution and in federal law. Can anybody agree that the United States exists in a state of perpetual warfare, or that the United States exists in a perpetual state of warfare against we the people? Anybody agree with that? Can anyone agree with that? Seeing what we see day in, day out, knowing all the taxes that we pay, and knowing what these assholes in Washington and our various 50 or 50 plus state capitals, are any of those people not enemy combatants? Can anybody make an argument that they're not enemy combatants? Anybody at all? I see we got 3 people in here. I guess it's probably, I'm going to guess that, if Diesel was here, he would say something. It's got to be the other guy. He's always quiet until we get really hot and heavy in it, and then he wants to say something. Not that we don't appreciate it, because we do, but does anybody agree that we are not does anybody disagree with that we're in a state of warfare with the United States of America and the various states that exist therein?
Oh, I got this commenter right now that's disagreeing with that. Like, what a joke, man. It's been going on for 50 years. Did your Afghanistan war go on for 50 years? No. How about the life sentences?
That's it. Charlie Harrington, that's him.
How about the life sentences in your Afghanistan war? Well, there's
none of those.
There's life sentences for drug war stuff. And this isn't going to end. So
No,
this is
it's too
way
much of a
worse.
cash cow.
And guess what? We're the ones paying these fucking servants.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
so
paying
we
for
pay
it.
them to attack
What's
us.
up, Charlie?
Literally,
Yeah,
to
we're
attack
paying
us.
our own oppressors.
I mean,
Yep,
what a
we're
joke, man.
We're sponsoring our own enemies.
What part
So,
did you make it
technically-
to? This one?
Yeah, I was ranting and raving about treason.
Cool.
and existing in a state of war.
Yeah,
I think
say
it's
it.
it's extremely relevant because it's pretty plain by the way that these cops and these civil servants who think that they're kings or nobles or dukes or earls or whatever the fuck they think they are. Like this one the other day, she says to the auditor, "I wish you'd stop calling us servants. It's pretty degrading." Well, you are in civil service, which means that you are a fucking servant. And a servant has to serve a master.
She's a woman, it sounds like. So she's got these other
Yeah,
issues. That's where
right,
they all
yeah, she's-
come from. Is her
Well,
denial of her role. No, go that way,
Yeah.
bud. Go that way.
Yeah,
That's
the women,
her whole life is denial of her role. But yeah.
Listen, I love women. There have been women in my life that were worthwhile. Unfortunately, there was only one that I was ever personally romantically
Well,
involved
you know
with
what?
who was an actual human.
They never built the houses that they lived in. So when you're saying
No.
worthwhile, what it really is that you're saying that you'll build the house for them, you'll get the food for them, you'll fucking do everything for them, and that they're gonna sit back and cry about shit and just pretend to do things.
No, I'm gonna take a little bit of exception in the case of my mother, because I remember when we were building, when we moved from the hilltop of Columbus, we moved from the ghetto out to the country. We built the house, right? My dad hired somebody to put in the basement because he didn't know shit about putting in the basement, and he had to have the leach bed and all that stuff. He didn't know anything about that, but he knew about carpentry. And he had a friend who was a plumber and another buddy that he raced go-karts with that was an electrician. And the dude that was the plumber also did roofs. So they had it handled. But when the kit came and we went out there to separate the stuff, it was mom and dad separating the lumber. Because I was only fucking 10 years old, man. All I was good for was bringing them coffee because it was cold out and keeping the fire going. So, we had some place to stay warm.
And the man told her exactly what the fuck to do, and all she was good for was just being an extra set of hands and barely
she
even
was
that.
laboring. She was laboring,
barely
and guess
even
what,
that.
man?
No offense.
By the time,
I'm sorry.
but wait, hold on just a second, man. By the time we got about halfway through the house, my mom was a decent carpenter apprentice. She was measuring and cutting boards for those guys and handing it to them. She was the cut man. Who's the most important person on a carpentry crew? The cut man. If you got one person cutting, they better fucking know what they're doing. Yeah, we had a finite. They sent us a little, maybe 10% extra of what we needed to build the house. So there were no mistakes that could be made. And my dad taught her well. Now, she didn't. She cut when they were framing, and I was basically handing the stuff that I could, bringing them nails and bringing them pieces of wood that were big enough that I could, small enough that I could carry. I was only 10 years old, man. So, there was a limit to what the fuck I could do. But by the time we got done, she built the fucking chicken coop, just me and her one day, while my dad was at work.
I'd rather have a 10-year-old boy.
Well, she was good at it. Listen, women can be taught to do skilled trades. They can.
They can be told what to do.
They just don't want. Yeah, they just don't want to because they'd rather do nothing all day.
So, right to jury trial under the Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution, the defendant is entitled to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury. Article 1, Section 11 of the Oregon Constitution also provides for the right to a jury trial in criminal cases. See, that's a benefit to using ChatGPT. I didn't look that up. Why the fuck would I? I already have a Sixth Amendment. Right? I think your sound just went out. The defendant respectfully requests that this matter be set for jury trial on the earliest date available to ensure a fair and just resolution of this case. Wherefore, the defendant, Kennedy Walker, prays that this honorable court grants this motion for a jury trial and for such other and further relief as the court deems just and proper. Dated. Okay. It's a weird way to put it. Praise?
Yeah, I'm not going to pray jack shit to the court.
Praise. Pray. That's
No,
weird.
that should be placed with demands.
So that's a motion.
We're the masters, God damn it. We don't pray for anything
sure.
except from God.
Bro,
we don't pray
they-
to the fucking court.
They think they're God. Okay, so that's the first thing I came up with. Motion for jury trial. And then for dismiss, I said, can you use my last document called motion for jury trial in this next document? Yes, I can help with that. Please provide the document or the details you would like to include in the next document and let me know what kind of document you are working on next. So, yeah, I just pasted that same thing. Oh, actually, I think I did tell it to add in some different things. But anyways, the point being, okay, motion for jury trial. And I said, I want you to change this document to a motion to dismiss. Right? Because I already gave it information, didn't I?
Sure you did. Yeah, absolutely you did.
Now I want a motion to dismiss. So, in the Circuit Court of the State of Oregon for the County of Malheur, State of Oregon, plaintiff, which they're not the plaintiff. Plaintiff is a complainant in a civil action.
Well, a plaintiff is somebody who can actually sign a document and swear testimony or make a statement and swear to it. The state can't make a statement and swear to it. They can say they can, but they can't.
Well,
they just
the
can't.
state is going to offer witnesses, and they can swear to stuff. Sure, they could. But
the whole trial hinges on a complainant.
Yeah.
Every trial does, unless it's civil or something, and still, there's still got to be a complainant, right?
There has to be a plaintiff in a civil case. And that's the problem with the state of Oregon being the plaintiff, is that they're saying right here that it's a civil case. But it's not. It's a criminal case. Which means, see, that's why I have a point when I say that there's no injured complainant. That's what it is right there. It's because an injured complainant isn't bringing charges against me. Okay? You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that, so plaintiff has to be taken out of there. Just leave state of Oregon. I mean, they're going to say that it's state of Oregon anyway, right? Because
I'll probably change this word to corporate entity. You can disagree in the comments. Okay, so they rewrote it. That same charges against the defendant are null and void as they violate the defendant's religious practices. The charges infringe upon the defendant's Fourth Amendment right to security in their property. I should say person. As there was no warrant signed by an injured
that needs a little bit more verbosity there as applies to the Fourth. Can you hear me?
Yeah. The charges constitute a violation of the defendant's Sixth Amendment right to face their accuser. As there is no identifiable accuser. Guys, you really got to understand the difference between a complainant, which is an injured party, and an accuser. Okay? Because millions of crimes are committed every day, and it's irrelevant. And the only thing that makes it relevant is when someone stands up and says, it's him. The charges being related to the drug war constitute treason under federal law. Charges violate the defendant's First Amendment right by impinging on his religious freedom.
Okay, can you hold on just a second? Scroll back up. Okay, look. Yeah, right there. Drug war. The D and the W need to be caps. We're talking about a thing, not just some nebulous, theory or something that we're philosophizing about. We're talking about a real thing that is substantive, so it needs to be caps. Those are small.
Okay.
That's a small note, but I would say that you want to definitely do that. It matters as much as words matter. Capitalization and punctuation also matter. All right, sorry about that. I had to throw my 2 OCD cents in on that.
The charge violate the defendant's Fourth Amendment rights by failing to meet the requirement for a lawful search and seizure. Where did they get this evidence that I possessed anything?
Right.
Because
Is there
they
any
searched.
evidence?
I disagree that there is, but, the only way they could get it is by searching, right?
Right.
The only
Yep.
way they could prove it is by seizing, which they didn't seize anything. So I don't know.
Right, since they didn't search you, they didn't search the car. So basically, what we're talking about here is a Minority Report fucking court proceeding.
Right. And
It's all fictional.
Okay, so one of my charges is intent to distribute. One of them is possession. And that means that someone had to swear to the fact that I possessed something. How the
I
hell
never
did
saw
they do
you-
that?
I never saw you produce anything that day.
How in the fuck is someone going to swear that I have something unless they have some sort of lab report proving that it was whatever they say it is, right? So, failing to provide an identifiable injured party is really what that needs to say. The charges being related to the drug war constitute treason under federal law, thus making the charges unlawful and unconstitutional. Request for
What's up, Jeff?
dismissal. The defendant respectfully requests that this honorable court dismiss all charges against the defendant due to the violations of constitutional rights and the unlawful nature of the charges. Okay, that's fine. And then, did that mention the supremacy clause at all?
It came close, but no, it didn't.
No, it didn't. So maybe I finally added in the supremacy clause at this point. Dismiss all relevant evidence against me, and then I pasted in that last document. Okay. Motion to Oh, let's see. Am I on this? Motion to suppress. Let's scroll down and see what. No. I want you to rewrite a document to suppress. Use the text I just provided. Okay, so now we're on to it. Okay. Motion to suppress. Same. Sixth Amendment. Drug war. Okay.
There's the supremacy clause.
This
There it is.
new. Okay. So, at some point, I don't know, I didn't read it. I told it, hey, you need to add in Article 6. So, the evidence was obtained in violation of the defendant's right under the Supremacy Clause of Article 6 of the U.S. Constitution, which establishes that federal law takes precedence over state laws, thus binding the court to uphold federally protected rights. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you,
I was just
ChatGPT.
I was just getting ready to say, man, that they did, that fucking AI did a really great job right there. Okay, guys,
Jobbus.
listen. We're not going to be using anybody's real names, even, Christian names. Okay, so.
What? Don't be scared, guys.
Well, look, I just don't want anybody getting doxxed up in here.
Don't
That's
be
all.
scared.
And
Dude, come on. Don't be scared of these
all
fucking
right.
pussies.
No, I'm not scared.
I'm just saying.
I'm not scared.
I'm just saying you can worry your whole life. And honestly,
it doesn't really. I guess it doesn't really matter, man. Our information is probably safer with each other than it is in the hands of the NSA, and we all know that the NSA has already got all of us on lock. So of course they do. They're probably listening right fucking now. They're making a recording of this. I hope they are.
all right, these are the same. Those are the same. That's the same. The evidence was obtained in this is new. In violation of the Supremacy Clause, Article 6, Clause 2 of the U.S. Constitution, which mandates that federal law is the supreme law of the land and state laws that conflict with federal law are invalid. Invalid. They are null and void. Yeah, 95% of the laws. Are you going to get away with robbery because of that? No. But you will get away with traffic crap or drug war crap. It's enough to where you should just buy my book and get competent. The evidence, I also asked them to add this in. The evidence violates the defendant's 14th Amendment rights by denying due process and equal protection under the law. The 14th Amendment ensures that no state shall create, it's actually no Congress, shall create or enforce laws that abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. So due process of law, that means somebody needs to accuse me of a crime. No one's done that. Nor deny any person with its jurisdiction the equal protection under the laws. So when I say that the judge is guilty of treason, then that holds every bit as much weight as whoever accused me of, I don't even know what they accused me of.
No, it holds way more weight than whoever went after, the retaliatory
they're
warrant.
Not an injured complainant, so yeah, it's more weight.
No, the only thing that's injured are those pigs' tiny, sensitive little fucking walnuts. That's all that got injured those days that you called them out.
Right.
The only thing that got injured was their little pee-pees because they
would have got over it. But as soon as I arrested their lieutenant, then they threw a tantrum.
Yeah.
So
I'm
the
sure
defendant respectfully requests that this honorable court suppress all evidence against the defendant due to the violations of constitutional rights and the unlawful manner in which the evidence was obtained. Grants this motion to suppress, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop sharing there. Those are the three things that I put together. What's another thing that I need to do is probably I knew what it was earlier. I need I know what it is. I need a motions hearing. So we're putting these motions in, right? But now we need a motions hearing. You understand?
Right. Yeah, it's got to be entered into the official record in court.
Okay. Yeah, right. And then the judge needs to rule on it, and then if he fucks it up, then that's going to be grounds for appeal. Of course.
Yeah, I was just thinking that you might as well make that argument in your motions hearing that, you've already got a whole pile of ways to go at an appeal.
That's a good point. Yep.
You might as well just go ahead and tell them that.
I spent literally fucking 10 minutes putting those three motions together. Literally.
Yeah, so you want to get your motions from here for your motions for your hearing for motions in as soon as possible. I would say get them in by Monday, man. Get them in by Monday.
Well, today
ruin their no. Wait until Monday. Ruin their actually, send them Thursday so they look at them Friday, and it ruins their entire weekend. You're probably going to want to get your motions hearings request in. I would send it in Thursday evening so they get it Friday morning. So they're worried about it all weekend. Just fuck with them. Get your timing correct, man. You got to come right with the timing when we're going to do our business.
So far, they've not given me my discovery, which I filed for that request over. I think it was a week ago today, maybe.
Oh, so you've already got that in. That's good. Excellent. Okay, so now you just got to file your motions. Okay. I didn't know that.
Motions, and then request a motions hearing, and then the judge has to rule based on the Supremacy Clause on our laws. So if your state law violates my freedom of religion, then it's over with. It's done.
Then your state law, yeah, you're. I wonder if in the history of the drug war anybody has ever argued this.
Yeah,
Ever.
they have, man. In prisons, they give people peyote. In prisons, they'll just say, we want peyote for a religious ceremony. And they'll give them, I don't know how they do it. I think they smoke it. So they give them a pipe and they give them some peyote or something. I don't know what it is.
Well, all I know is when that drug war when it really started swinging in the late 80s, early 90s, when they were burning down Northern California and Southern Oregon. And you know what I'm talking about. You remember seeing it. Well, you might not. You were just a kid. You were really just a kid, man. Okay, so you might not remember it, but
I've seen their soldiers.
Well, I need to. I think that might be one of the shows that I do. One of my dailies that I do is going over this bullshit from the beginning of the drug war.
Dude, if a person needs evidence, then they're fucking totally lost at this point. To tell you the truth, but yeah.
Well, listen, just because they should know it already doesn't mean that we're absolved from teaching them. If it's going to be our fault that these servants get away with pretending like they're masters, then surely we can't just let our brothers and sisters struggle and stumble around in the muck and the mire of policy, statute, ordinance, and code.
They're going to do what they do. Man, I've had a bunch of trolls at my channel lately. I'm getting like hundreds of views per day. And it's
that's good. There's no such thing as bad publicity on YouTube.
Because you can't step to the reality. But the thing is, dude, these people, they don't care about reality. They see the costume and they think they've got it worked out.
Yeah, they see the guy in the costume, and because we've been programmed since we were little kids that those are the good guys, that we need to do what the fuck they say.
Yeah, and it's always based on just that. It's never based on any reality. It's just like, bro, they'll be like, here's one thing that they love doing. Oh, everyone laughed at your citizen's arrest. Right, which makes them all what? Collaborators.
It makes them collaborators and traitors. They're traitors. They probably just need to be arrested and dealt with.
They've all taken an oath to uphold and defend our laws. Citizens arrest is up. Bro, I have people under that video where I literally read the citizens arrest law being like, you can't arrest someone. That's impersonating a police officer. Really.
I know, man. It's like I don't know how many every single state has to have citizens arrest.
I think it does actually,
laws.
But even if it doesn't, it doesn't matter because it's a 9th Amendment right. I think they all do.
Right.
So.
Yeah, if it's not enumerated and we can think of it, we have that right.
Well, you know what community knows a lot about this is the people that pack guns because they want to know when they're allowed to shoot someone,
Yeah, but
they know quite a bit. And what it is that, bro, if you arrest someone, what's the next step? Is using deadly force, right?
Well, you want to use physical force next.
Well, I know, but people are using deadly force today. That's what I'm saying. And so those people really look into, the only way they can do that is because citizens have every right that they've given to their servants.
Yeah, we've given them all the rights that they have. If we've given them all the rights that they have, then
they don't have rights. Rights are a thing you have with your government.
Well, they have powers and duties that
once there's a warrant,
they assume from us.
Once there's a warrant, then they have police powers.
Right.
Which
exactly.
Means that it's the same as if you had an authorization to seize someone. It's the same thing.
Okay, here's my argument, though. Check this out. If we granted to them these powers, we are the people, and all power derives from the people. If their powers derive from us, Where is the mechanism for us to take it away from them outside of what we're talking about?
No, it's
Can
within
anybody else see any?
No, it's within what we're talking about. Motions.
No, I get that.
Motions.
I know that.
When we're saying that your law is unconstitutional, so it's null and void, how can you charge me with it?
Yeah, they can't.
That's the point.
They can't. It's
how
illegal.
can you charge
It's
me for murder when I shot an assailant at the gas station that was holding people at gunpoint? You can't. It's just a motion to dismiss. It's honestly, it's that simple. People think that I've lost because I'm going through court, but I can't lose. I just went through why I can't lose.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's called the supremacy clause. Supremacy, I know I've said this before, we've both said it before, but I'm going to say it again. Supremacy doesn't mean whenever the cops feel like it. It doesn't mean whenever the judges and the prosecutors and the DAs feel okay about it. It's 100% plus of the time. Right? Okay, the Ninth Amendment gives us 100% of the rights in the Constitution plus an infinite amount of rights beyond that. If we can think it up, we can make it our right to do that. So, yeah, absolutely. You know, we're dealing with a hostile takeover by stealth of our government. That's what we're dealing with.
Bro, it's barely stealth anymore, but yeah.
Well, no, it's out in the open now because, you know, as soon as the pigs start doubling down, then the judges start doubling down. And once the judges start doubling down, then the DAs and the county and state prosecutors, of course, they're going to double down too. Because what does a socialist do? He imitates the socialist above him. That's what he does. But the cops sent the message to the judges on the street just doing whatever the fuck they want. You know? Well, yeah, okay. Turning Guns has this to say. Yeah, I guess if you fuck someone up and restrain someone until the cops show up, I don't know. Well, you know.
Sometimes they'll charge you. I knew a guy. I used to sell alarm systems. I was in Albuquerque. And this guy just got out of prison for 7 years or some shit like that. And it's because someone broke into his truck and he held him at gunpoint. But then he also zip tied him or something. And because of that, they put him in prison for like 7 fucking years. Bro, these people don't follow laws. You have to make them. You have to make them. So you have to know what's happening. And you have to, you know, you have to be able to defend it.
You have to make it real. The thing is, these people, they're gonna do whatever they want because they're socialists. And what's the number one trait of the socialist? The number one trait of the socialist is the willingness to commit crimes against everybody else.
Well, really, it's that they're unwilling to earn their own way. And then, because they're unwilling, then, yeah, they'll take part in anything because they don't want to be the guy sweeping floors and being like, what's our floor sweeper doing today? Their egos can't handle that. And so they just refuse to go through it. And that's why they're public servants now. It's because they can't handle having a boss that's actually just like, bro, you're worthless, aren't you?
Yeah, you know, the boss who has the production meeting in the morning and says, everybody is falling flat on their face for 8 hours every day last week. What the hell are you people doing? Right, you know, what the hell are you people doing? You stay behind everybody else. Get to work. The two that stay behind, look, you guys are on notice, you know.
Yeah, we're going to fire you if you don't get it together, stupid.
You got 72 fucking hours to get it together, or you're going to get bounced.
And
because we got to have
those two become cops or other public servants. Women love public service because they don't have they're not going to get fired no matter how lazy they are. They'll get up from their desks for hours on end just to bother with Long Island audit. You know, they don't have any supervisors that are going to stand up and be like, Get back to work.
No, their supervisors are in the back trying to figure out how to steal public funds that are in an account. They're trying to figure out how they can write some letters that will convince the people at the bank to give them the money so they can steal.
Or how to,
that's what they're doing.
How to come up with a story that you walking in is a crime. They love coming up with those stories.
Yeah, they love doing that shit. Yeah. Years ago, I ran a painting business, right? It was my business, and I bid jobs, and I paid a guy to be a salesman for me, and he generated lots and lots of work for us. And we went to a very affluent part of Columbus, Ohio, and this house was in the middle of a cul-de-sac on a big round island, and it was this grand house, and it had marigolds, and it had, man, what's the other one with the real fluffy pink and white flowers? I can't think of the name of it. So anyway, this dude named Chris, he was the head of the State Department of Workers' Compensation. Okay, and when we were working in his house, you know, it was my job to go around with him in the house, and he pointed out we were basically doing punch out on this fucking mansion that he just built on like the most prime of the prime real estate in this neighborhood. You're going to love it. When I get to the end of this, you're going to love it. It's just going to take a couple minutes. Anyway, he had a whole walk-in closet that was nothing but ties on a mechanized rack that went around the whole outside of the room, and then there was a carousel one in the middle that had all of his jewelry and shit on it. And he was like, I don't want anybody coming in here but you. And he handed me the key, and I said, I don't want that motherfucking key, man. Give it to your father-in-law. He was there all day. I'll get it from him when I need it and give it back to him. Okay, fair enough. So that started me thinking, man, this guy's a public servant, and he's built this fantastic home. He's got, you know, he's probably had $60,000 worth of ties. I've known lawyers that were successful that didn't have $60,000 worth of fucking ties, okay? And they didn't have $100,000 worth of jewelry in their own manly walk-in closet. To me, a man that owns that much jewelry isn't really that much of a man anyway, because what do you need, man? 3-4 rings, a watch, a necklace, maybe, if you're so inclined. But, you know, what the fuck
what
do you
need
need
is all the stuff you're going to take to heaven with you, buddy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, one of the guys was like, man, there's something really fishy about this fucking guy. And I just looked at him and I laughed, and I said, of course there is, man. He works for the fucking government. Of course he's a crook. Anyway, the dude heard me saying it because they had these really good security cameras, and he was in his command center inside the house watching and listening. And he called me up to the office, and he was like, well, I'm you know, man, I can't have you talking like that. I said, you know what, man, you can hire somebody the fuck else to punch out your house, because I don't want to work for you anymore. You creep me the fuck out. I wonder about your manhood, and we're out of here. So we packed up all of our shit and we split. 6 months later, he's in front of a grand jury, okay, for I can't remember that. It was misuse of official funds or some shit like that. He stole a shitload of money. That's how he afforded to buy that property in the first place, which before he bought it from the city, it was a park where all the rich kids would go and play. Okay? And he bought it, tore the park out of there, and then built his disgusting, repugnant fucking mansion right in the middle of this neighborhood on this cul-de-sac medium island in the middle that he bought from the city, because everything's for sale if the city owns it. Of course it is. You know, of course, because it's not their money, it's not their stuff. They can sell our shit to private individuals and do whatever they want with the money. But anyway, he's still in prison. He stole something like $3 million from the state.
Awesome prison, bro.
Yeah, he's in a prison where he gets to play pickleball.
They have like hibachi grills and shit.
Right. Yeah. They have little patios connected to their cells with chain links so they can't run away. They're living like domesticated dogs. Woof woof woof, barking at people, barking at strangers walking by. Woof 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 woof. They're just not behind concrete. They're behind chain links.
The rest of us could get that kind of treatment. Of course, they do that in like Norway and stuff like that. where a murderer gets like a flat where they just live and like.
Yeah.
You know, one of these days when I lose control, I'll explain to you my real passion, which is dog law.
Well, I've wondered about that.
Yeah, it's dog law. First off, it's the Smooch-teenth Amendment. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, that's
the right of the
suspicion.
dogs to kiss, smooch, cuddle up, get smooched, get kissed, and get cuddled, and that they're equal to humans, but more equal, as long as I say so. That's the Smooch-teenth Amendment. That's in your Constitution.
Yeah, I remember you
of the
saying
United Dogs of Afrasica, and to this dog public for which it smooches. One kiss in dog visible with smooches and kisses for kitty. That's dog law. That's my real passion.
Yeah, you know, I've seen cats and dogs live together, and that whole saying, you know, fighting like cats and dogs is that's nonsense, man. That's just like you can't fight City Hall. You sure can. Ask Wanda. He'll tell you you can fight him. Ask Kennedy. He fights them before they even get a chance. He's fighting them. And I wish that Wanda would get it together, man, because I would love to talk to you.
Everything they do is a crime. So it's
of course it is.
It's really just a matter of you need to know what crimes it is, and you need to be the complainant, and you need to press fucking charges over and over again. And when they ask you, "Oh, you're charged with state law," then you just say, "I have federal laws that supersede your stupid crap."
Yeah, the federal law, which is the Constitution, doesn't bend to the state.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. If what the state has to say is unconstitutional on its face, then it's null and void. The state surely can make laws, but they have to do it properly. You don't just take a pile of tires and stick a roll cage in the yard and call it a race car. You got to put that shit together. You know, you got to put the parts together. And if they can't put it together properly, then it's trash.
Yep. The beginning of the 10th Amendment says that it's for those powers not already delegated.
That's right.
To the United States. So, as long as it's not violating a person's religious freedoms, freedom of speech, freedom or right to bear arms, the right to be secure, it needs to be a warrant. Signed injured complainant. Need that. We need a citizen, a real citizen, not the state. The state's not a victim. What a crazy concept. That the people with the fucking mahogany desks and the marble goddamn oak fucking walls and are you kidding me? That's your victim? They're not victims, stupid.
Yeah. The victims that work in this gigantic edifice that with these big 10-foot tall doors.
Never struggle for rent. Have 401ks.
Yeah, drive nice cars.
Brand new vehicles, also that they can show up and say, we're victims, we're victims, we're victims, we're victims, we're victims, we're just victims all the time. We're always victims. It seems to be working out pretty well for you. Being victims there, buddy. Maybe you're not victims. Which is why I have a Sixth Amendment right to face my accuser and be like, are you sure? Are you sure there, buddy? Are you sure? Are you sure you're a victim there, bud? Sure there, bud.
Yeah, they're real good at playing the fucking victim. That's why they want to get somebody under arrest, because that's what they do. They create. They're not the victims, but they're projecting onto themselves what they're actually doing to us. It's like a reverse weird. It's like a weird. Yeah, it's like this weird fucking self projection that they do, right? It's like I'm rubber, you're glue. What I say bounces off of me and sticks to you. You know, that's how asinine that's how they think, man.
Yep.
And they almost say, like the cops, you got business here, 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 you got business here. I watched this video the other day where it was a sheriff's deputy that was security in this courthouse saying that exact same thing 25 times in the row, while the actual human being citizen is saying, you know, this right, that right, the other right. He's like, you got business here, you got business here, like a fucking broken record 3-year-old. That's going to say exactly what I just said.
They think it's possible for you to say the wrong thing, and now they have probable cause. Guys, judges determine that.
Yeah, not cops, not security guards,
cops
not
are
clerks.
entry-level fucking dipshit losers.
Yeah,
they don't
they're not
determine a
qualified.
goddamn thing. It's called the separation of powers. Get with it.
Yeah,
you're in
that's
America, you
absolutely
dumbass.
correct.
What the hell? Why don't people know this?
Because they all failed civics.
Why are you voting? Stop voting, retards. Like, seriously. Bro, these comments I get, it's like, dude, you're voting. This is why we're a republic. Because you're too dumb to have an opinion. That's honestly what it is. That's why we have people that make choices for us in a republic. You elect them, senators, representatives. Because we're too fucking stupid. Bro, come on. Give me a goddamn break. All my neighbors are basically mentally ill. You know. Same with yours. Same with you. I'm just saying the average person is just fucked. And it's like, what the hell? How do you guys get so goddamn confident? Bro, I have people showing up at my channel every day like, case precedent. No, case law. Guys,
they're obviously not paying attention.
Congress makes laws. Just knock it the fuck off. Judiciary doesn't make laws. They don't make laws.
Yep.
Oh, but they interpret them. So what? The law is still the same.
Yeah, the law doesn't change because some pimp and a judge says this or that. Or, you know, some pimp and a black robe judge makes this decision or that opinion or this or that ruling. That's all they're allowed to do. They don't make laws.
Well,
they
you know what?
make laws.
Matt, what's the matter with you? Here's the problem. We do know who they are. They're socialists. They're servants. They live off us.
Yeah.
Here's the problem here. We do know who they are.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't know us. Well, we got to know who you are. You're never going to know who I am, motherfucker, because we're not. Yeah, you're not caliber enough.
They're creating a disturbance.
Of course,
give them a lawful order to leave. Place them under arrest.
You're
capture
disturbing the
all
peace.
The cops that show up and show them violating their oath. They'll do it every time. That's the only thing they're not going to obey. Duh. It's the only thing they won't obey. Because why is that? Because they'd have to stand against their little butt buddies over here, the other socialists. It's never going to happen. All right, let's call that a show.
All right, man. It was kind of off the cuff. Thanks for coming, you guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys.